This is English shorthand dictation number 6 and the dictation speed is 100 words per minute. Ready? Start. Mr. Deputy Chairman Sir, this discussion has come at an appropriate time when people in this country are very much concerned about the future of the press, its structure and its freedom, and therefore I welcome this opportunity to say a few words. I think that there is a good deal of misunderstanding, rivalry, and tension between the parliament and the press, and this misunderstanding exists on both sides of the house. The usual attitude among the politicians is that if a newspaper supports their party, then it is independent, and if it criticizes their party, then it is the mouthpiece of the monopolists. Well, sir, it is not as simple as that. We all know that many parties, when they have been in power, for instance, the DMK, the CPM, all these parties have harassed newspapers when they have been in power. Sir, this is not a situation that is new to India. It exists in all democratic countries. To some extent, it is inevitable and we have to learn to live with it. The tension and the rivalry arise mostly because some of the functions of the press and the parliament overlap. Also, because the two institutions to a great extent depend on each other, and this results in a certain amount of resentment. There is also the fact that the press has a function to be a critique of the government, a watchdog of the government, as well as of the political parties, and this is often misunderstood as hostility. But in our situation today, where we are still building a democracy, where democratic institutions have to be built up and sustained, and where our freedom has to be maintained, I think it is essential to create rather more cooperation and understanding between the press and the parliament. I believe, sir, that one of the important functions of the press council could be and should be to act as a link between the parliament and the government on the one hand, and the press and the public on the other. I feel that some of the misunderstandings that have developed since independence between the press and the government are due to certain historical reasons. Before independence, the national newspapers existed for the national movement. There was no conflict between the two. The proprietors, the editors, and the leaders of our national movement were united for the single aim of removing the British government. But after independence, the situation became rather different. It is natural that after the achievement of freedom, there would be different interests and different ideologies represented in the press, just as they are represented in parliament. Therefore, to expect the press in India to support the party in power on all issues would be unfair and unrealistic. Sir, one of the complaints against the press coming from the government after the last general elections was that it did not reflect the will and the aspirations of the people, and that it has represented the monopoly interests. Even these allegations, sir, have been disproved to a great extent by those who have analyzed in detail the coverage of the last elections by the press. The fact is that a kind of distrust of the press has grown in the ruling party and in government circles, and their feeling is that our major newspapers do not support the basic policies of the government and that they are overcritical. Sir, I would like to say this: if the charge against the press is that they are dependent to a great extent on big businesses and that they are out of touch with the vast masses of the people, there is some truth in it. But can't it be said about many of our political parties? Can't we say that the Congress party has links with big business? Who can deny that many of our parties often lack a touch with the masses? So, sir, the press on the whole reflects what happens around it, and its situation is very similar to that of most of our political parties and of our political system. Sir, most journalists in this country would admit that there are many faults with the press today. One of the major faults which the members of the press have themselves repeatedly pointed out is that they are not in touch with the large rural areas in the country, and they tend to cater largely to urban middle classes. But the situation can ultimately be remedied only when we have higher literacy and education and development of rural areas. Again, it must be considered that the freedom of the press today is inhibited by the fact that it is run by large business houses and commercial and other interests often impinge on the freedom and integrity of the editor and the journalists who work with him. So, we all agree that freedom of the press should be strengthened. The government, the journalists, and the public are all agreed on this.